Hi there, my name is Simon Horton and I'm the founder of Negotiation Mastery. And recently I posted a number of short presentations on online negotiations and why they are much more likely to fail than face-to-face ones. In this presentation, we're going to look at probably the single biggest reason why remote negotiations fail. And that's to do with trust and relationship, both of which are critical for a successful negotiation, and both of which are very difficult to do online. Now, we build trust by proximity. If we meet somebody, we are likely to trust them more. If we meet them again, we are likely to trust them more still. Email just doesn't cut it when it comes to trust. So how do we build trust online? Well, let's start by looking at how we build it in any professional relationship. This is the trust equation, which comes from the book The Trusted Advisor by Meister, Green and Galford. This was a groundbreaking book when it came out, and it showed the importance of trust in any professional or commercial relationship. So, Meister, Green and Galford say that trustworthiness equals credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. Now, you're not worried about your own trustworthiness because you trust yourself. You're more concerned about increasing their trustworthiness. And there isn't too much you can do about their credibility, their reliability, intimacy, self-orientation, especially online. But actually, there is. If you want to increase their trustworthiness, you need to go first and increase your own. You can't trust them if they don't trust you. So if you want to be able to trust your counterparty, which you do, you need to go first and be trustable yourself. Now you can trust them more because they trust you more. This means we need to look at this equation from our own perspective. What can we do to increase our own credibility, our own reliability, our own intimacy, and decrease our own self-orientation? If we do these, this is going to increase our trustworthiness, which means they can trust us, which means in turn, we are more able to trust them. So what are these terms in practice? Meister, Green and Galford say that credibility is about knowing your stuff. It's about knowing their stuff. It's how thoroughly you've prepared it. It's the quality of the work you deliver. It's your experience in this field. It's how you project yourself. It's how you present yourself. Reliability is about, do you deliver what you say you're going to deliver? Do you deliver it in the way that you say you can deliver it? If you promise to send them that link, for example, do you follow up and send them that link? Do you turn up to the conference call on time? Do you reply to their emails? All of these are tiny communication signals that subconsciously they pick up on and build up a picture of whether you are reliable or not. And you want them to build up a picture that yes, you are reliable. That anything you say you're going to do, you are going to do. You can deliver what you promise you're going to deliver. Intimacy. This is about emotions. This is about feeling safe talking about difficult topics. This is about making it human to human. This is about sharing personal information. It's about proximity. The more points of contact we have with the other person, the greater trust we're building. And face-to-face, physical, is better than online. So we need to take the blended approach that we discussed in an earlier presentation. And then lastly, self-orientation. This is how much are we focused purely on ourselves, or how much are we focused on them? And how much do we understand their goals and their concerns? And are we helping them to achieve their goals and address those concerns? And the more we can do that, the more they can trust us, the more we can trust them. So be demonstrably fair, use independent benchmarks to make it objective, demonstrably objective. Say things like, listen, I know you're concerned about Y, or I know you're trying to achieve X. And if you can do these things, then they will understand that you are trying to help them achieve their goals and address their concerns. And then they can trust you more. And if they can trust you more, you can trust them more. Now, these are things that we should be doing anyway, but In the online context, it is so much more important because building trust is much harder online because we don't have that proximity. So be online and email, be much more conscious of this and be a lot more proactive in building these factors into your communication with your negotiation counterparty. So trust is critical to negotiation and it's very difficult to do online. And the same can be said with building relationship. Relationship is equally critical to a successful negotiation and it's very difficult to do online. If you think about face to face, it's just much easier to make that quick joke or to ask that casual question about their weekend, this kind of thing. So how do we do it online? And again, we need to consider the same things we would consider normally, but be much more conscious of them and take much more care that we do bring them into our remote negotiations. Match their style. You've probably come across the idea of matching body language as a way of building rapport. And this is one of the reasons why face-to-face is better for building relationship. But you can do it email as well, not matching body language, but matching emailing style. So let's say they're a fairly blunt emailer. Well, perhaps they write just quite short to the point messages. Well, if you do the same, subconsciously, they're going to think, yeah, this person gets it. This person thinks like me. And they're going to want to work with you because of that. Conversely, let's say they're quite a warm emailer. Then if you respond similarly, again, they're going to think, I like working with this person subconsciously. And this is all going to build relationship. Now, it could be that you think that their communication style is problematic, in which case you might want to nudge it slightly towards the direction you would like it to go. But you've got to take a call on where exactly you pitch your email style in terms of matching or nudging. Use non-task chatting about personal information. So in other words, it doesn't all have to be formal and about the formal negotiation. Do take some time to make some of it a little bit less formal and perhaps ask questions about their weekend, about their kids, or about their favorite football team, or this kind of thing. And this will help build relationship. Connect on LinkedIn. The more points of contact we have, the more robust the relationship is going to be. The more it is we're going to feel, yes, I know this person from elsewhere. And obviously on LinkedIn, you can view their profile, they can view your profile, and you can start to understand each other better. You can know each other's backgrounds, their experience, a little bit more about them. It could be that you've got something in common when you go back into the history. All of this is going to help build relationship, and all of this is going to help build connection in the negotiation. Now, consider the idea of in-group versus out-group. Human beings are very tribal beings. And when it comes to persuasion, negotiation, relationship, trust, life is much easier if you are in-group. The good news is that we are so rich in our identities, there is always an overlap to be had. And it's your job to find this overlap. Who are they as a person? Who are you as a person? Where is that overlap? And if you can find that, you've now got it in-group, and life is going to be much easier. So it could be that you both live in London, or you are both lawyers, or you are both parents, or you're both children or parents. In fact, the deepest connection is often when you do strip it back to the basics and make it human to human. And this can be a really powerful way of building relationship. Obviously, this isn't email specific, but given that it is so difficult building relationship online, and given that this is one of the most powerful ways of building relationship, it's worth paying particular attention to this, to building the in-group relationship, in-group connection, when we are negotiating remotely. Don't be dismissive in your emails. Don't be judgmental. Don't use negative language. Keep the wording positive. Keep focused on solving the problem. Refer positively to the relationship. So say things like, thank you very much for your flexibility on this matter, or we're making great progress here, these kinds of things. And referring to the progress made can be the thing that keeps the collaboration going, especially when there is a standoff. Refer back to the progress that you've made already, and then that can keep you going through that standoff. Communicate about the process. This can make the process go more smoothly. And lastly, if you think it's not going that well, you can always communicate about the communication. Often the problem is because of the communication. So if we communicate about that, that can be the thing that gets it back on track. This is something called meta communication, and it's a really powerful way of transforming relationships. Let me give you an example. Let's say they are a blunt communicator, and perhaps they have been a bit rude, perhaps a bit offensive, either to you or somebody else. If you tactfully, diplomatically call them on that and ask them to soften their language, then that gives them the chance to do that, and that can be the thing that gets the relationship back on track. Often people aren't aware of their communication style and they're not aware of its impact. So by communicating on the communication, that gives everybody the chance to improve it and get the relationship back on track on a sustainable way. So we've come to the end of our series. In conclusion, we've seen that negotiations have moved online more and more in recent years, and obviously this is accelerated with the coronavirus. But the research has shown that online negotiations are less successful than face-to-face ones, and they are more likely to fail. In this presentation, we looked at trust and relationship and how important they are to a successful negotiation, but also how difficult they are to build online. And in some of the other presentations, we looked at other ways in which email can make our negotiations go wrong. But we didn't just look at the issues, we looked at how to resolve those issues as well. And we looked at a number of things that you can do and put into place to make sure that your remote negotiations are as successful as your face-to-face negotiations. I hope you enjoyed these presentations. More importantly, I hope you find them useful. If you've got any questions or any comments you'd like to make, do drop me a line at Negotiation Mastery. My name is Simon Horton, and I wish you the very best of luck in all your negotiations.